Back to another episode of the CHF Overtime Podcast. Jordan DeLuciano, as always, and kicking off this Wednesday's episode is the captain for Mass Maritime, Jonathan Stutzman. John, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Yep, it's a pleasure. So, I looked on the CHF website, just doing my research. It says you're from Sandwich, Mass. Is that that's an actual town name?
Yeah, that actually is. It's on the Cape. It's a small little town.
Okay.
It's about an hour south of Boston.
Gotcha. That's a weird name. I chuckled at it, Sandwich,
Yeah.
Massachusetts. But anyway, so Mass Maritime, it's a very unique school. Like I mentioned to you right before we came on off air, how it's not like your typical college. You know, its geography is unique, and what you do there is also very unique. So from your firsthand experience, before we get into what you're pursuing at the school, just can you speak to what this campus life is about and what you're surrounded by?
Yeah, for sure. So we're on the tip of Cape Cod in Buzzards Bay, right on the water. Our campus is right on the water. We are not a military school, but we do have programs. So we have two licensed track programs, which are marine engineering and marine transportation. And upon graduation, those students that pursue those degrees, they get a ship out on any vessel in the world. And it's quite unique. And we also offer other majors that are maritime related in the maritime industry.
Mm-hmm. So like vessels, meaning they ship out on like aircraft carriers or what specifically?
Yeah, like any type of vessels. It could be cargo ships, tankers, cruise ships, anything that they want.
That's really interesting stuff. So what brings you to Mass Maritime then? What are you pursuing over there?
Yeah, for myself, I study facilities engineering. So it's basically onshore engineering. I won't be shipping out. My goal is once I graduate, I'll commission as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. So I graduated officer candidates for the Marines this past summer, and I'm going to be serving 4 years, and then I hope to use my degree after that. But there are other majors, like I said, that you don't need to ship out.
Okay. And then your major, what was and sorry, you were going in and out a little bit. Your major was which engineering, you said?
Facilities engineering. So
what does that entail? What would that lead you into?
That's similar to mechanical engineering. So power plant engineering, a lot of pharmaceutical work, working in big facilities, hospitals, and yeah, it's really broad. It's a broad major.
Mm-hmm. Is that does your like I see you have a uniform on right now? Does that have to do with your major or something with the Marines that you mentioned before?
No, so this is what every student wears every day. This is called our classroom blacks, and we wear this every day to class. But once you're not in class, you can just wear regular civilian clothes to the gym or wherever you may go. But this is what we wear every day, along with pants and dress shoes.
Okay, only specifically to class though. You would have to wear that, right? You said like casual wear is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that about that.
Yeah.
Uniform setup. Does you said you guys some students on the campus, they wind up being shipped out to vessels. Do they wind up living on that vessel for X amount of time, for a decent amount of time during their tenure at the school?
During the school, no, everyone lives on campus.
Gotcha.
Once they ship out in the industry, whatever the contract is, they'll live on that vessel. So yes.
How long do these contracts span out for?
They vary. So I got a few buddies that are out right now. They can go for 2 weeks, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or you could be out there for 4 months, 4 to 6 months. It all depends on what you want.
Oh wow. You know, I would not, the seasickness would get me immediately. I don't know if that's why. Not built for everyone. It's a certain type of breed that you have to be able to handle that type of lifestyle. So what do you feel has built you to be able to handle, like I just mentioned, this type of lifestyle, and you're committed to the Marines and to the field that you're studying in school? What has led you up into this this life choice?
I just think that leadership is honestly one of the biggest reasons why I came here, for the structure. And we have a regiment at this school. So it's basically a leadership structure that we follow every day. And we have to appear, we shave every day, have short haircuts. And the biggest thing is just leadership that I've gotten from this school, and discipline. It can just take you far, everything that you do.
So how is that leadership that you learned from the school carried onto the ice then? Because you are the captain of the Mass Maritime hockey team.
Yeah, definitely. It teaches you how to manage a group of, cadets here at the school or players on the hockey team. So it teaches you every day from planning to organizing to then attacking our game plan and then eventually on the ice. That's how we play our game, just practice. And everything that we do, leadership here from the school translates exactly to the ice.
And
Communication is a big part of that too.
communication. Do you is it just you that seems to be that main vocal point of communication because you wear that C on the ice, or is it a universal thing amongst everyone on the team and everyone on the coaching staff?
Yeah, it's the whole team. We're all working together. Um, we're a great team together, and we're such a young squad too that we're only going better too. We're only going to get better. Our two coaches, James Pioppi, Dave Massini, right now, they're both great, excellent coaches, and we all work together. We talk every day about what's the game plan for today, what are we going to work on, and what are our expectations for the weekend for the games.
It's definitely shown on the ice. You guys are off to a 2-1 start, including a win against the defending champions. Convincingly, might I say, 5-2 3-goal win against Babson this past Sunday. Am I right? It was this past Sunday, this game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the team's mindset going into that game, and how are you guys reeling after a 5-2 win against the defending champions?
Yeah, that was a great game. It was fun all around. When we were coming in, we knew that they were the national champions of the CHF last year, and we knew they were a good squad. They had a good goalie, well coached, just really good, disciplined team. But our game plan was to come out hard, attack fast, get the first goal, minimize our mistakes, and just work from there. And it seemed to work in our favor.
Does your strategy and mindset going into that Babson game differ from any game? Did you guys have to change anything up due to it being a significantly higher caliber of opponent than it is the defending champs, or is it the same mindset, same game plan?
We just knew that we had to minimize, stay out of the box because they will hurt us on the power play. That was a big thing that we stressed. A good team like that, they'll convert if they get the power play. They have the chance to convert, and we knew that our biggest thing was to play disciplined hockey and stay out of the box.
Is discipline hockey something you guys that for the Mass Maritime team, is that something you guys pride yourself on? Is that the number one thing, or is there another type of game plan that you guys thrive off of?
Yeah, definitely staying out the box because we're dangerous 5-5.
So last year at the Fed Cup, not the ideal showing, but I'll keep it unnamed for now. I was told this year your guys' team is night and day in a good way compared to last year, meaning you guys have made a big improvement, a big step. What has contributed to that step?
I just think the whole team has bought in this year, especially. We got a few studs on the team. All the young guys, we're a young squad, like I said, and our goalies, they really put in the work this summer. And then once we're clicking, the lines are going, the goalie's playing well. We're just a lot more fluid, and we're a lot better from last year. I think we put in the work this summer, realized what we had to do from nationals last year. It wasn't a great turnout in nationals, but those teams kind of opened up our eyes on what we had to work on. So right now, here we are. We have a good start so far.
Yeah, I believe you guys went up against, I know Ramapo off the top of my head, and Hofstra was two of the teams. I'm missing one.
We played Emery Riddle.
Yes.
Yeah,
those are the three teams. Anything you guys learned that you carried into this season from that three-game experience last March?
Yeah, it was actually funny. It was just out of the box because last year we were always in the penalty box, and we relied heavily on our penalty killing unit. And it's hard to score when you're down a man. So coming into the season, we definitely wanted to stress, minimize penalties, play 5-5 hockey because that's when we're at our best.
Yeah, that would definitely shoot you in the foot, especially in that competitive tournament that past March. And I can see that discipline has definitely gotten you off to a good start because you want to using that change of mindset and taking out Babson. So you guys, so you have a intense career, should I say, and a very strict school. You guys, like you said, you have a very strict regimen. How do you balance that type of lifestyle on campus and pursuing your degree and your career as well as playing ice hockey?
The biggest piece of staying balanced at especially a school like this is just being organized every day. I schedule out, you plan days ahead every day. So if you go to my desk right now, I'd have sticky notes everywhere and just planning out days in the future what I have to do. I have to meet certain time hacks. So, grab the keys for the vans to drive the boys to practice. Things like that, like talking to different school professors, different students, and just getting work done. The biggest thing is just being organized from a day-to-day basis.
Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And you
Exactly.
ran with that one. So how far is the rink out of a commute from campus for you guys?
It's about 10 to 15 minutes away.
Oh,
yeah, it's down in Falmouth, Mass. It's a great rink. Yeah, we get the boys out of morning regimental duties, so it's good for the young guys too to get off campus as well.
Yeah. I believe like on campus and when it comes to your career, you have to be a certain way of professionalism. Do you kind of loosen up in the locker room and on the ice, or is it still that same like on the go mentality, you know?
No, I definitely loosen up in the locker room. The whole team, we're just a family, and we all bond really good together this year. And I think that's a huge contributing factor to how we did against Babson, especially. We're just getting tighter each game and every practice, and I think we're only going up from here. So you definitely loose in the locker room.
So you guys going into this weekend coming up, I'm looking at the CHF website on Friday. You're at Binghamton and then at Cornell, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I always make sure, because sometimes I had a guy on last week and so it got literally an hour before he came on the show, the game got postponed. So I always just like to make sure, double check with the player that it lines up with the CHF website. What do you guys, I know you emphasize discipline. That was a big stress and a big thing you guys wanted to change going into this season. How do you guys maintain this success other than being a very disciplined team, which has proven well so far?
I think in practice, we've been working a lot on just breakouts and getting shots on net, getting quality scoring chances. So that's something that we emphasize too is, not every shot's going to go in, but you might as well take them. So in practice, we've been emphasizing, look for the rebounds, drive, shoot, score. And we've been doing a good job of that so far.
Keep it simple. Get pucks on net, get a guy on net, picks up the loose change. Well, Jonathan, I want to thank you for coming on. A lot of good information about your school and what your career path is. I appreciate your time, man, and good luck the rest of the way, all right?
Definitely. Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem, man. I appreciate it. So once again, everyone, Jonathan Stutzman, the captain from Mass Maritime, hopping on the CHF Overtime podcast. So we will now move along to our final two guests. First one, we will now introduce, actually, I can't introduce him right now. I have to get the link out to him. Just make sure everything's all good. Sending all these links. I got a multitext here, get all these links here to send out. So this next guest I'm actually very familiar with because he plays for Farmingdale State College. And I've been able to talk to him a lot last year, talk to him a lot this year, and Farmingdale State College, you may see 3-0, but they have been off to a roller coaster start of a season so far. I mean, the first game was nice and easy, and then ever since then, it's just been nail biter, edge of your seat. You can never sit back and relax because the games get interesting. So now we'll get, instead of my perspective of it, we'll get the firsthand perspective out of it. And if you guys happen to missed the Farmingdale game this past weekend, check out the Long Island Sports Network on YouTube, where all those games are streamed live. You can check out the highlights there. And there were some tough hits, especially one that came in overtime against they wound up knocking off Fordham on Saturday. So we're going to ask again firsthand perspective of watching a teammate take that brutal hit. And also the forward, his name will be John McCann, as you see on the bottom scroll. We went to the same high school. I'm pretty sure we live in the same town, me and John. So let me make sure. It's something that it's actually, I guess, what a weird coincidence is. Something that Jonathan Stutzman mentioned was discipline and how they needed to fix that because they shot themselves in the foot at the last Fed Cup. They wound up going 3. So they fixed that. They wound up going up against Babson, stay out of the box. You win 5-2. Discipline was key. And now you have the other end of it, Farmingdale, which has been struggling to stay out of the box and constantly been shooting themselves in the foot during games. And they're 3-0, but those two games that went to overtime, arguably they could have had easily in the third period, but penalties, maybe a little bit too relaxed, and you wind up having to go an extra period. But now they have to go into their toughest test of the year, arguably. They got a home and home Saturday and Sunday against Quinnipiac. That will be their first time against them. Like I mentioned, they are 2-0 against Fordham, 1-0 against Cortland. There you go, 3-0. And speaking of Cortland, if we want to dive around the league, Cortland lost in overtime last weekend to Farmingdale, a heartbreaker where they overcame a 6-1 deficit late in the second, lose to Farmingdale in overtime. Then they go against Binghamton this weekend, and they knock them off in overtime. So Cortland with a big upset against the Fed Cup runner-up. And then in the same weekend, the Fed Cup champion goes down to Mass Maritime, as we just had Jonathan Stutzman on the show, the captain of that team. And like, if you guys want to take a look, just make sure. You guys want to take a look? I know not everyone has the advantage of being on the campus or being in Massachusetts. Just look up on Google Images the pictures of the campus. It's a beautiful campus surrounded by water. It's very unique. You know, I mentioned in the beginning, it's not like your typical campus. You know, it's not big. It's not surrounded by land and towns. You know, the Main Street Strip or whatnot. It's in the middle of water. You know, it's a great campus. A very, very nice visual. You know, if you're into that type of stuff into taking those pictures and whatnot. But I'm still working on getting John McCann in right now. I'm going to try to send the email again. Let me try something right now. Nope, didn't mean to hit that button. That was an accident. Copy that. Sorry for the delay. These things happen, you know. Usually it's quick and painless, but, you know, live happens with this technical stuff. I mentioned Quinnipiac earlier before, and it will be Quinnipiac guest will be the third guest on the show, Jacob Noyes. Yeah, Jacob Noyes, forward on Quinnipiac. He has 5 goals in 6 games. He was a freshman last year and lit it up for Quinnipiac before an upper body injury kind of hurt his season, no pun intended. And he came back this year as a sophomore wearing an A. So a sophomore wearing an A on his jersey is impressive in itself. And then you have him getting 5 goals in the first 6 games, helping Quinnipiac improve to a 6-1 record. It's a good start for the sophomore, so we'll hear from him in a little bit. I hope we get a chance to hear from John McCann. We're having some troubles getting him on the getting him the link right now to join the podcast right now. John, you're killing me here. I'm going to see him on Saturday. I see him every weekend when I call the games. And I'm going to be like, man, you're killing me here. I'm chewing time here trying to get him on, John. First Farmingdale guy too. I call your games. First Farmingdale guy too. And I'm getting a little delayed reaction here trying to get I know it's not his fault. It's just something's going on with we're trying to get the link over to him. But nonetheless, a little bit more about Farmingdale. Very good organization. They've been a conference champion multiple times. They won the Empire Conference last year. They've been many times they've represented at the national tournament where you go back to the ACHA days, the CHF days. They were one of a couple teams, blanking on some of the other teams, but back in 2020 during that COVID year when they went 3-0. And I've talked to the Farmingdale players that are still here on this team from that 2020 team. And I've talked to the coaching staff too. And they said, that 2020 year in March at the Fed Cup when we were 3-0, we all knew like this is the year we're going to do it. Like they felt it. They ran through the first 3 teams convincingly, and they felt very confident and strong going in the quarters, semis, and possibly the finals. And then them, along with a couple other 3-0 teams, had their tournament championship hopes derailed when the unfortunate events of the pandemic hit. And Everyone had to go home. I believe back then, two teams had to back out of the quarterfinals. Then they took two teams that didn't make it and put them in the quarterfinals. And then a couple teams that were already in the quarterfinals, their schools backed them out, and it was just a disaster. But we're moving on 2 years later, and this Fed Cup will be 3 years later. And it kind of would sting. It does sting for some teams that felt like they had that chance back in 2020, the 3-0 teams, or the teams that, came down to that last do or die, winner go home game 3 of pool play. They win that game, and then boom, COVID hits. So they get a little bit of a taste in 2020, and then last year, finally, we get the full thing. Babson coming out on top. But we got a long way to go for that one. It's not working out for to get John. I don't know what is going on. So actually, we'll see if John joins. That'll be interesting if he's able to join because I'm going to get right now. I'm going to get Jacob Noyes in right now. I'm going to email him the link just to get things rolling here. I'm just going to put I'm not going to put just sent. Yes. Emailed. So Jacob, I'm going to catch you off guard here. You're going to be a little early. I had him scheduled for 12. Actually, I had him scheduled for 12:30, so he should be good to go. So that'd be pretty interesting if I get Jacob in here and then John McCann from Farmingdale is able to join. They're playing each other this weekend, and I get two at once, so that'd be pretty interesting. But we're just okay. Join now, yes. So I think I'm going to get Jacob Noyes in, the forward from Quinnipiac, because, again, we're having some problems getting John McCann on, unfortunately. But, hey, these things happen, These things happen. But Quinnipiac this year, 2-1 start, 3-2 win against Delaware. Delaware getting their legs back because of the suspension that ended their season last year. They were on their way to the Fed Cup, Delaware. Suspension derailed that. And then 6-4 win over Mass Maritime. So a close, high-scoring battle between Quinnipiac and Mass Maritime. So that was their 2 wins. And their lone loss this year was against Ramapo, a 5-4 game in which the Ramapo goaltender had a very good showing. And that was the lone loss for Quinnipiac this season.
Jacob Noyes joined.
And speak of Quinnipiac, now joining me is the forward and sophomore Jacob Noyes. Jacob, thanks for hopping on.
Of course. How are you?
Yep. Thanks for working with me. I was trying to get you were supposed to be the third guest, and I was gonna get John McCann from Farmingdale, who you played this weekend, but I'm having some difficulty getting him on, getting the link to work. But so that's why I moved you up front, and you'll be ahead of him, and you're going to wrap the show up for me. So again, Jake,
Perfect.
Thanks for popping on the show. You were recommended to me from your coach, Lloyd. I've got to know Lloyd well over the past 2 years, got to interview him. And I got to know your goaltender, Adam Campersall, pretty well. Good guy. And also I didn't know Campersall's really tall. I didn't know he's, oh my God. I interviewed him, so I only get to see his face. Like I see your face right now. Then I met him at the Fed Cup, I think in the hotel, and the dude, like I'm not tall, I'm 5'8", but the dude towered over me.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, he's huge. And usually you see like maybe like the goalie at most is like 6'2", maybe 6'1". Campersall's like what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, he's got to be up there, 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, so you don't really see those really tall goalies. I think I played with one in high school, and he was like 6'9". He was taller than Campersall, this kid.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
Weird. So, Jake, do you mind either one?
Jacob doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right. So Jacob, you're from Sudbury, Mass, right?
Correct.
What brought you over to Connecticut to play for Quinnipiac?
I don't know. I just saw it was like a nice campus, good community here, so I wanted to join. And then club hockey team was really welcoming. Loved it here, so decided to play.
You played hockey throughout your whole life, or you picked it up?
Yes, I played my whole life, and then I played at Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School.
Gotcha.
And decided to come here after.
Play any travel or junior hockey?
No. I played travel for Aspet Patriots. That's about it. I didn't. Nothing other than that.
Okay. When did you start? You start like how old were you when you started?
I was probably like eight-ish. So I was a little older.
Gother.
But
all right, a little way to put it. That's actually not that bad. Some people start off as teenagers.
Yeah.
I remember one kid I was talking to last year. I think he was on FAU. He played soccer his whole life and then played hockey around like 13, 14 years old. And it turned out pretty well for him.
Yeah.
So I I can see you thrive yourself on being a goal scorer. You got 5 and 6 games already, and you made a huge impact in your freshman year last year, right? Last year was your freshman season,
Correct.
right? Yeah. So did you expect, were you this kind of success early on, or are you very confident in yourself? Not cocky, but maybe confident, saying, you know what, I'm coming on this team as a freshman and now, but I'm sure I can make a quick impact.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident with myself always, but I mean, it was basically just like I have the older guys like helping me out in practices, like having 2 line mates that are always dishing me the puck, putting it right on my stick. So it's basically just everyone contributing and helping me out, like making it easy for me.
What type of goal scorer do you see yourself as? A guy that walks in, he can just roof it? You find yourself getting the goals right in front of the net to clean up the loose change, deflections?
I mean, I'd like to say I'm a bit of everything. Try and mix it up, not be a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Multi-use. I'll just carry in the conversation because I recently just had, a couple minutes ago, had the captain of Mass Maritime, Jonathan Stutzman, on. You guys faced them. What's the difference that you saw in that Mass Maritime team compared to last year? Because it was a
crazy
4 game.
It's crazy. I remember playing them last year, and I remember we were coming out of the locker room after playing them this year. We're like, wow, that's a crazy different team. It doesn't even look like the same organization at all. It's like they've stepped up their game so much.
Yeah, they really have, and they knocked off Babson as well. And something he emphasized was discipline. And they were sloppy last year, and even in the Fed Cup, but they changed things up this year. What is something you guys at Quinnipiac really emphasize your game on?
I mean, we just emphasize our game about being hardworking, pushing each other, be better, and making sure that we're a hard team to play against, doing all the little things that no one else will do to make us better than everyone else.
Mm-hmm. What is something that you guys do to push yourself? Is it one voice in the locker room? Is it Lloyd behind the bench, or is it just a collective group?
Good thing about here is we have a bunch of leaders on the team. It's not just 1 or 2 older guys. It's every single person on the bench pushing each other, pushing every single person to get better, which makes it a very good environment of practices and games, and everyone knows each other, have each other's backs.
Last season, you had an upper body injury, right? That took you out for some time?
Yeah, I broke my hand playing against Fordham. I got slashed.
Yeah. What, thumb, fingers, the wrist?
It was my 5th metacarpal which is right here.
Gotcha. All right. So if you're listening on just audio, he's pointing right below his pinky. Yeah. So I wouldn't have known the technical term for that one. How was your recovery process? Did you feel like when you got back, maybe your shot or your puck handling and your receptive of passes was a step behind, or did you make a simple, easy transition?
Well, I mean, I came back. I couldn't play until Nationals. So Nationals was my first game back. So I had to, it was tough. I mean, I couldn't practice. I would go on the ice. I would skate around, but I didn't have what I had in the beginning when I was playing like full on practices, and I was playing 3 games a weekend. I didn't have any of that, and I needed to build back strength. So I wouldn't say I was at 100% for when Nationals came around, because my hand was still a little, it was healed, but it wasn't 100%.
That's a tough time to come right back into in game 1 in Nationals. And I believe that was the Tampa D3 team that you guys went up to in game 1. You guys had a tough pool, and you wound up going to the last day to try to make it into that quarterfinal game. You guys wound up not making out of your pool. What do you guys think went wrong at that Fed Cup back in March?
I think we just went into the game just a lot going on. It's Nationals. Everyone's excited. I think we just went in a little slow, and we didn't play our exact game. Then we started to pick it up. But by the time we picked it up, it was too late, and then kind of put ourselves behind early.
What do you guys have to change this year to fix the wrong that happened in Fed Cup?
I think that we just have to keep pushing each other, not letting up at all, because there were times last year where we let up. But I'd say we're a lot more well-rounded and willing to work this year, so we'll be a lot tougher to play against.
What made you guys what makes you guys this more well-rounded this year? Is you guys have a lot of skill, depth?
I mean, the depth is crazy. We have 5 first lines. Like, literally, you could put out anybody, any single line, and we could keep up with any first line in the league. So it's crazy how competitive practices are, just knowing that every single person you go against is going to be like a top tier guy, and he's going to be able to push you and he's going to make you work. There's not one person on the team who just like sticks out above everyone else. It's pretty like even, and everyone's just working their hardest.
So this weekend, you guys got a tough weekend ahead of you guys. You got, I believe it's Fairfield Friday and then home and home Saturday, Sunday at Farmingdale, home against Farmingdale, right?
Yes, it's definitely going to be one of the tougher weekends we got.
Yeah. So how do you guys prepare and stay fresh? Let's start with this first one. How do you guys prepare for this long tread of a weekend?
Well, to prepare, it's nothing different. We just prepare like we have been all year. We just come to practice, play our games. Everyone knows their roles, and then we just come out ready to go.
And so you got 3 tough. It's pretty much like a Fed Cup right now, like a tournament. You guys are going through this weekend. How do you guys stay fresh after each game?
After each game, it's just a lot of recovery stuff. So you just gotta come back, be ready to get your sleep, prepare. Everyone has their game day rituals. Do that. Be ready to get in the car and go, and just have fresh legs by the time we're playing, especially on a long drive to Farmingdale.
So you're in your sophomore year. You got it. Do you have an A on your jersey, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So what does that mean to you, and how would you go about now conducting yourself as a second-year player with a letter on your jersey already?
I mean, it means a lot just knowing that the guys are just that they want me to represent the team and have a big role in the team. So it meant a lot that the older guys from last year saw that, and that the kids on the team now want that. So yeah, but they're really, if you have an A on your chest or not, it doesn't really matter on this team. Every single person has the same exact roles. Like there's 100 different leaders. Like you go back to Adam Campersall, he's like one of the biggest leaders on the team by far. And then if you just go down the list, there's so many people.
So at Quinnipiac, what do you to get off hockey for a second? What are you pursuing over there? What's your major? Do you have any idea yet?
I'm business undeclared right now.
Is this undeclared? Nothing in mind?
Nothing in mind. I'm looking at like marketing, something along those lines, finance.
Okay. Yeah, you got some time.
Yeah.
You're a sophomore over there. You know, I took my 5th year to realize, you know what? This is what I want to do. After doing something for 4 years, I didn't want to do. So
yeah,
it gives you some time. Well, Jacob, thanks for hopping on. I'll actually see you on Saturday when I call the Farmingdale game. So I look forward to meet you in person, man.
Perfect.
All right. Good luck this weekend. Should be a tough weekend, but I think you guys will hold yourselves well. So, Jake, again, thanks for hopping on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Enjoy the rest of the day, man. Nice to meet you too, Jake. I'll see you on Saturday. So once again, that was Jacob Noyes, forward for for Quinnipiac University. Their leading goal scorer, should I say, with 5 goals in 6 games. And I'm going to try one more time before I end the show. Let's see if I can get John on. Let's see if I can get him on, because he texted me while I was interviewing Jake that he was good to go. So let's see if I can, if we can hold serve here. Let's see if everything works out. Yeah, but Quinnipiac was one of the going to that tournament last year in March. It was like the top 8 teams, maybe 2 of the top 8, maybe 1 made it into pool play. And Quinnipiac and Farmingdale were one of those 2. Were one of the 8 teams that didn't move on, that got knocked out in pool play. Quinnipiac wind up dropping their first game. I believe it was like a 2-1 game against Tampa's D3 team. Huge upset in the first day. Then they took out Cortland, and then they had a game against South Carolina where they needed to win by X amount of goals. Let's say it was 4 goals they needed to win by. They won by 3. So they just missed out on moving on to the quarterfinal round last year. So a tough end to their season. And then, like Jacob said, I said upper body injury on purpose because I didn't want to say hand injury. I didn't want to disclose it, but Jacob was obviously okay with disclosing the specifics of his injury. You know, in hockey, upper body, lower body, you know, we don't say any, like, a guy's leg could have fell off and the team will go, it's a lower body injury. They don't say specifics. So I played it safe, but Jacob was obviously okay with saying, and he even pointed out specifically right here on the pinky. Where's my pointer up? Right here on the pinky. Again, for those on audio not watching, it's right below the pinky where he broke. And what a tough transition for him to come back right into the Fed Cup game 1 against Tampa D3 and have to play it not 100% in the toughest time of the year. So he looks to bounce back. He's bounced back very well. They're off to a good start. Their 1 loss was a tough 1-goal game against one of the best teams, not just in the Empire, but in the entire College Hockey Federation, Ramapo. And Ramapo was that team that had a huge run last year, missed out on the championship game by 1 goal in overtime against Binghamton. And they're something to be some team to always keep an eye out for, Ramapo. And I'll look to have one of them on the show down the line, probably when they come to town eventually. They come down to the island. I'll probably have them on, just like this week. I had I'm having Quinnipiac's Jacob Noyes on the show, but so far nothing on. I don't know what's going on with John McCann. I think here's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to step out. I'm going to end this one. Then I'm going to come back probably later today when all things work out with John, and then we're going to get John McCann. He can have his own episode. He'll have his own thing. So that's what I think I'm going to do. So maybe he joins doing my outro. Who knows? But for now, stay tuned. Keep an eye on the Twitter account throughout the day, because I'm going to try to get John McCann, Farmingdale State forward, on the show later in the day. I'll post what time we'll be coming back on, because right now we're having some difficulties. So until then, my name is Jordan DeLuciano for the CHF Overtime Podcast, and I will see you in a little bit.